output, gano'n.
Dami isa na comments, dami pang...
Ibig sabihin ay, baka hindi pa nila huli. Pero kung sino yung pagkata, ito na yung vertical na export. Tapos sunod, hindi man lang niya in-acknowledge. Tapos,
May tatanong pa rin si Josh about Tota.
wala pa sila.
Message ka ba niya?
Yung files, hindi pa kinukuha niya, ni Francis.
Si Francis Buko?
Hindi. Gusto mo kunin. Nasa na yung files, di ba?
Tapos na. Yung audio?
Tapos na. Okay. Okay lang. Hindi, so yun nga, wala tong kinalaman. Pero hindi pa sinisend. Si Francis yung may gulang. Oo, tangin na talaga eh. Okay lang. Pero alam mo kasi, ikaw lang yung unang nag-guest na may dala na props. Tapos kailangan pang i-feature kasi bilang isang sound engineer.
Gusto mo explain kayong deck ka?
Huwag na.
Okay.
Isang oras ata yun. Pero
hindi naman, mga 20 minutes. Kaya ko 10 minutes each.
ang pagkaintindi ko sa bandang Autotelic, isang malaking front para makapaglaro lang kayo ng magic cards. Oo. Nagkataon lang.
Sabi yan?
Ako. kasi lahat ng kung tingnan mo yung mga BTS ng Autotelic, lahat kayo nasa isang mahabang table. Tapos ikaw si Jeff, si Neil. Tapos laro. Tapos parang ilang beses na pumunta ako sa gig nyo. Tapos parang, tugtog na. Sige, iwan nyo muna. Tapos babalikan nyo na yung... Pagkatapos ng set, ano yung una nyo gagawin? Hindi magliligpit ng gitara. Mag-aayos para sa magic cards.
I-check namin kung gumalaw na magic.
Diba? So, yun yung importante.
Pero, iniisip ko, kung hindi kami nagma-magic, ano kang ginagawa namin?
Wala.
Diba? Wala kami ginagawa.
Yun nga yung kawawa si Josh eh. Si Josh lang hindi nagma-magic. Tapos kayo lahat nakaganyan.
Minsan si Josh, gusto ko talaga try. Parang Josh, sige laro ka na.
Tapos wala, hindi talaga eh, diba? Parang ako.
Ayan talaga.
Pero I think isang malaking bagay yun na hindi nakikita ng maraming tao na...
Yung idle time.
As in, sobrang...
Siya nakakapatay minsan.
Ha?
Lalo na kunyari like from a long trip. Tapos meron kayong 4 hours of waiting time. That's why may magic. Promise.
Saan yung last yung... Parang medyo recently mas out of town ng Telic, di ba? So,
hindi last out of town
saan yung last out of town nyo?
UPLB. Hindi last.
Hindi, nandun rin ako. Yun nandun ako, tapos nagtataka kayo. Ba't nandito si Jason?
Sobrang wild ng title yan. Lakas ng ulan na yan. Ito, shoes. Ay, sorry.
Sige lang. So,
Super
I think yung just going back to that na a lot of people don't realize na pag banda ka, you're there 5-6 hours before you're doing the sound check.
Kung may sound check.
Kung wala, you're really just there early kasi if you don't have another gig, kasi kung traffic, yung travel, even just yung travel. So, kung hindi mo gusto yung mga kasama mo sa oras na yon, tangina magkakauratan lang talaga kayo.
Try ko remember ano yung ginagawa before magic eh. Wala, lahat nagsa-cellphone lang. Share ng memes.
Pag-usapan ng... Tapos parang hanap ng pagkain.
Oo.
Tapos yun na yun.
Yun lang. Tapos magko-phone lang. At least ito, may konting, I don't know,
camaraderie.
Camaraderie.
Okay naman. Hindi ko naman sinasabing hindi okay. Sinasabi ko lang na
kawawa si Josh.
Kasi, hindi, yun nangyayari. Dahil ako, ako naglalaro ako dati. Pero pag nakikita ko na kayo, tapos para si Josh, kaya ako makakausap si Josh. Kasi siya lang yung hindi nagmamagic.
Perfect sanay na siya. Pero di ako sure kung, minsan ko kung like, hinaho niya again. So parang, tangina, meron kaming 8-hour trip. Tapos kami lang. Tapos siya, mag-drawing lang.
Buti nga nakaka-drawing siya, di ba?
Yun nga eh. Parang minsan inis ko minsan parang, karamang dala ng something else na at least si Josh makaka-relate siya with.
Yun yung isang napansin ko. Alam mo, lahat ng banda, may sari-sariling parang pangpatay ng oras. As in, legit meron.
Sila Brass Passas, nakita ko, meron sanda lang cards din. Pero
cards sila. Yung Worms, may time na puro sila Switch, tsaka mga handheld na gaming.
Oo, dati rin si Neil, dadala ng Switch na yun eh.
So iba-iba talaga. But I think that is a part of band life na parang hindi ka naman darating lang doon tutugtog alis.
Ay, parang weird naman ko na doon. Tapos pag-usapan yung gig, parang, tanga na yung gig galing natin sa gig. I mean, I guess kung dati, nagka-start ka, diba? Parang medyo nervous ka pa. Ito yung setlist natin, Ito yung natin gawin. O huwag kalimutan yung parts mo. Ngayon, parang, after how many gigs dapat alam mo na yun. So parang, what else is there to talk about?
At then, if you're doing, on average, sige, Telic has probably 1 to 2 gigs a week?
At least,
diba? bukas may UP, bukas ba UP Fair niyo?
UP.
So, if you're hanging out with those people, mauubusan ka rin talaga ng pag-uusapan at some point.
Yeah. Pero minsan bad din kasi mahal ng magic cards, man.
So, hindi, okay lang. I mean, dyan ba napupunta? Yan ba yung pinakaluho mo na?
Hindi, kasi may wedding pa ako eh.
Congratulations by the way.
Yun
Shout out kay Tala.
Pero dapat doon.
Dapat sa wedding mo.
Dapat sa wedding na pupunta.
Anyway, para sa mga hindi pa nakakakilala, ikaw ay si Marc Reyes. Original...
Gusto ko yung notes mo dito, nakasulot ang Marc Reyes. Plays Magic?
Hindi.
Ano to?
Tangan, April 2. Yung date ngayon. So, essentially, para sa hindi nakakilala, ikaw ay si Marc Reyes nga.
Hello.
Most people, I think, don't know na original member ka ng SUD.
Yes.
Diba? I met you not as a sound engineer, but as the bassist of SUD.
Sa Laguna.
Sa isang random
Sa isang
gig.
random Laguna gig.
I think nandun ako for Reese. Tapos,
Or Jensen.
or Jensen. Or one of those na parang pinapunta ako ni Jensen or ni Reese.
Sakit.
Tapos,
Pero in fairness, nandun ka to say the day. Kasi di nag-work yung bass ko. Tapos pagtingin ko na doon ka.
tapos parang inayos ko na. Tapos okay na. Okay ka na? Okay ka na. Sige, ganun lang.
Si Cables. Yun,
What was that?
naturo mo yan.
I mean,
90% of-
90% of the time, ang
Kalabanan talaga.
ay kable.
Kable.
Tapos 5% of the time may tanga. 5% of the time may sira talagang gamit.
Hopefully sana yung 5% never mangyari. Yun, yung either may tanga or may sarang gamit. Mas
Pero
mahirap i-fix
90%
yan.
of the time, kable.
I-pray mo na kable. In fairness.
Kasi mas mahirap i-troubleshoot ang tao.
Yeah. Or ang hardware. Kunyari, like sira yung Midas.
So, yun, for those who don't know nga, you're also now the touring ba? The live sound engineer for Autotelic and Clara Benin, paminsan, di ba? Sino pa ba?
Gaba.
Gaba, Gaba.
Parang,
Kung may
Gaba.
gigs si Gaba.
Yeah.
Mahirap. Sobrang sikat na kasi ni Gaba. Dami niyang gigs.
Yeah. Tama ba?
Hindi. Shout out Gaba. Pero yun, I guess most people will know you as that. And you also do a lot of work with Minsan as part of the Minsan team. You are the main sound engineer for all of the stuff that you hear, the music stuff you hear on Minsan Studio. Yeah. Okay naman. Makikita na, I mean, I think the proof is in the pudding naman na most people will comment, if they're not commenting about the performance, most people actually really comment, shit, ang ganda ng tunog.
Hindi ako sure kung egotistic ko yun, pero parang every night, check ko lang yung comments. Kung makita ko lang, uy, ganda ng mix. Parang, wala, check ko lang may bagong comment. Pero naman, hindi naman. Small wins lang yan. Small wins.
And I think a lot of people will, it's easier to appreciate music if it sounds good. Diba? That's why you will watch a long concert kasi maganda yung tunog, diba? As opposed to parang pwede nga sobrang ganda ng video pero hindi mo naman naririnig ng maayos lahat ng elements. Parang pangit.
Ang hirap kasi i-understand anong good audio eh. Kasi ang visual like TV, madali siya i-perceive eh, diba? Parang alam mo na yung what looks good, what doesn't look good.
Parang if it's well lit,
Diba?
if there's good composition.
Ang audio kasi parati for me subjectable. Parang, yeah, may mga times na this could work here. Pero I feel like for me, yung best kind of audio for me is pag ako, while mixing, I get lost dun sa mix. Tas I see myself, nandun ako sa audience area. Tapos dun ako nag-mix, parang I imagine myself as if I was there dun sa
At the gig,
concert
yun.
Kasi pati siyang, like, yun nga, subjective ang audio, ang visual. Kasi you can see you're there. Pero ang audio, you have to hear na you're there. Ang hirap gawin nun, minsan.
And
you
I think,
have to imagine talaga.
I guess learning rin from my work in film, parang one of the concepts there is that when you're watching a film, you can choose where your eyes are looking at. So which part of the frame. Whether you're looking at someone's face, you're looking at the background, you can choose where to focus. But sound as that element of experiencing things, you don't get to choose what you hear. Parang it's all just comes as one wave na parang napakinggan mo lahat. Well, you can try to dissect the elements of that, but you're hearing it as one. Whereas with sight, pwede mong okay, ito lang yun.
Parang nitpick, no?
Pwede mong initpick. Pero ang mas mahirap siya, I guess, in terms for audio. Kasi isang buong experience mo siya pinapakinggan, diba?
Yeah. Kaya ang hirap talaga, like, ang dami nagsasabi parang what is a nice mix, what's not a nice mix. For me talaga naman, generally, the basic rule is if you enjoy what you're hearing, good mix na yan. If you enjoy, it's good. If you don't enjoy, then it's bad. Yun naman for me yung, parang ang dami ko nakikitang or like I see sa Instagram, parang, oy, cheat sheet for this. EQing, dapat ganito yung EQ mo for a good vocal.
Hindi naman...
Parating, ano yan eh, it's always, maraming factors of how it ends up sounding like that. Like yung mic position mo, what kind of mic. Alam mo yan, ang daming kailangan isipin.
And even before that, may sipon ba yung vocalist?
Hindi,
Diba? Paus
diba?
ba siya the day before? Parang, is he in a good position to perform his best?
Ang daming factors to say na parang, this EQ patch will solve your problem. Parang ganun. Parang for me, bullshit.
And I think for audio and even in a lot of things in production, yun yung isa sa mga paborito naming sagot ni Dwayne Fernandez, which is, depende.
Si Dwayne, man.
Diba?
Yeah.
So, yung we come from the school of practical audio. No? Okay, tumutunog ba? Maayos ba tumunog? O sige, okay na yan.
Yeah.
Parang ganun lang. But a lot of people will really think about audio and parang, hindi, mahirap yan. Ganun. It's complicated if you want it to be. But I think it can also be simple, and there are a lot of times better mixes are the ones na hindi ka mahirap, like you barely have to EQ.
Yeah.
You barely have to do compression kasi ang linis na kumanta ng vocalist. Diba?
Parang you're overthinking. If you overthink the mix sa life mo, or if you're basing it lang on parang, uy, itong gig ko, ang ganda ng EQ, gayahin ko lang. Tapos, sige, patong mo, tapos pangit pala. Parang, what I learned from you, yung biggest thing I learned from you talaga was visual mixing. Na hindi ka titingin sa board. You mix while looking at the band. Kasi parang dun mo mas feel or dun mo makikita yung how it should sound. Diba? Rather than parang nakatingin ka lang
that's
sa
one
board.
like I remember when when you had started out with Autotelic, diba? Parang, oops, uy, tingin ka dun. Tingin ka dun. Parang, with the guitar solo.
More importantly, nakatingin ka sa band. Visual mixing talaga.
And then you adjust what's happening.
And then adjust.
Kasi I actually got that from, nakita ko na ba sa'yo ito? Nakuha ko to from Dave Rat. So Dave Rat, Foo Fighters, Red Hot Chili Peppers, live sound engineer, as in Rat Sound.
No, hindi ko kaya
Anyway, so, when...
DC Vic yun? DC Vic?
Hindi, si Butch Vig. Iba pa. As in, live sound engineer.
Okay.
So, when I got the privilege to watch him work sa 7107, kasi I was mixing Dharma at the time. Tapos, so, most of the sound engineers would have, ako nakatayo dito, tapos I would have my desk in front. Sa kanya, desk sa gilid. So, every time he would make an adjustment,
Titingin siya muna.
diba? Yung default niya is nanonood siya sa banda. Tapos adjust siya. Para default niya parate pag ganun. As opposed to, ang daling mag-default na tingin ka sa baba, tapos tingin ka sa taas. Diba? So at least, you're physically forced.
Hirap nun to. Parang, alam mo yun, yung right here. Pero, I guess mas mas nagka-concentrate siya.
Mas nagko-concentrate ka talaga sa sa performance. So nung nakita ko, and to his credit, lahat kami like I think I was using either a profile or probably a Digico at the time. Tapos he was using a analog board. Tapos lahat kami sobrang mas like I think there was Kendrick Lamar pa at the time. I can't remember ano yun? Something of the Sun.
Empire of the Sun?
Yun, tumugtog rin nun. Parang, okay, maganda yung tunog. Tapos,
analog?
Naka-analog board
Even
siya.
May monitor siya. I'm sure
may monitor mix sila. Pero, siya, FOH, as an analog board, meron siyang distressors.
Ay, wait, kala ko si Dave Rat. Siya yung nag-start out as an intern, diba?
I think so. Basta yung medyo curly hair blonde. Yun, So, as in, yun siya. I guess for you, parang, what do you think is the easiest way to understand Marc Reyes? Because at least for me, the easiest way to understand who you are is gusto mo lang mag-mix.
Gusto ko lang mag-mix, man.
As in, gusto ko
mag-mix, man.
After every Minsan gig, may na-expect akong the day after na magme-message ka, pengi mix.
Siya yung crossword puzzle ko for my everyday life. Siya yung kailangan ko i-work out this part of my brain parate na kailangan di ko pa narinig. Kasi pag i-remix ko yung mga stuff na I did before, parang cheating na siya. Alam mo yung pag nagawa mo ni crossword puzzle, alam mo ni words eh. Ito parang alam ko ni words sa mixin. Dapat para for me, new
bagong crossword naman.
New puzzle naman siya parate. For me, puzzle talaga siya. Kasi nag-start out ka with all these files na hindi mo alam. Tapos
Or
unti-unti
hindi,
mo siya-
binibigyan na kita ng channel patch ngayon. Paminsan.
Once lang.
Once lang ba? Sa January. Kasi 48 channels.
Pero other than that, for me, enjoy ko yan eh. Yung
Ano kaya yung mic na to?
Oo, diba? Tapos i-figure mo, parang room mic to, ang ganda eh. Alam mo yung hindi ko alam, tapos parang figure ko, hindi, parang gawin ito sa room mic, kasi ang ganda ng tawag. I mean,
Tapos yung pala vocal mic lang yung nabukas.
Nakabukas or something. Na parang for me, yun yung beauty of mixing, beauty of live music, na everything pwede na magawing beautiful or ayoko sabing improve kasi as it is, maganda na siya eh. Like, a push lang to the right direction. Yun lang talaga. Like, music, infinite yan of potential. Infinite potential.
I guess, sa lahat so far ng mga na trabaho, nagawa mo na, I mean, the most
Favorite?
notable would be the Johnny, yung recent
Johnny.
na nilabas natin na Ikaw at Ako na Johnny Orchestral. Hope, we're working on ilalabas naman lahat yun soon. Barbie, you did Barbie, you did a couple of mayonnaise ones.
Yung, for me, si Lofi, man.
Levy.
Leve.
Although hindi pa, try natin ilabas yun.
Pero siya, I think, harder siya than Johnny.
There was a bigger orchestra. I think
mas
they had a 40 or 50 piece orchestra then. Amongst all of those na nagawa mo na, like, Levy,
Brass Pass Pass.
Brass Pass pa, yung brassified.
Yun yung favorite ka. I think yun yung favorite ka.
Ang ganda nung areglo nila.
Lahat.
That was, I think that was their anniversary special. They had some guests on. Plus their own songs.
Plus their own songs.
Diba?
Sila Mike, yung mga bagong vocals ng si Pao, yung bagong vocalist nila.
I think so, if
Galing.
I'm not mistaken.
Tas sila, anyway, yung buong set na yan. For me, yung one of the, doon ako I had to level up from,
Parang na-feel mo, shit, ang ganda ng files na to, kailangan kong galingan.
parang kailangan ko, I don't know, may extra push ng something that day na yun, na kailangan ko gandaan lahat. Not to say na hindi ko magagandaan lahat. Ginaganda ko naman lahat. Mas ginaganda ko na iba.
I think yan. What would, in that case then, parang upon getting those files, and I guess upon listening to just seeing what you had, at what point, or what would you say makes a good performance? Parang, where does it start for you?
Shush. Usually, when I mix something, linaloop ko na siya to a song na I know or I really like.
Within that set?
Within that set. Tapos from there, parang mag-intro to end ako. Pero coming from the song na I would like to work on muna, doon naman ko focus. So for that particular set, finocus ko Jump. Yung first set. Yung Jump. I think si Pao yung nag-vocals nun, si Mike. Tapos yun, starting from, syempre, rhythm section, drums, bass, rhythm guitars. Tapos sinave ko last yung horns. Kasi, I think first time ako nag-mix of a live section of horns. So doon ko na-realize na parang, shit, ang ganda. Kaya pala. Hindi siya magulo, hindi siya mahirap i-put into place. Kailangan mo lang, I guess, proper gains, no? Proper leveling, proper pan.
I think, ako naman, my approach to that would be, get the best input possible. Meaning, ako ba nag-mix nun? Ako ata nag-live nun. Tama ba?
Oh, sino pa?
Hindi ko maalala. Baka ako. Anyway, I think what we tried to do was make sure na the stage was as quiet as possible. That way, maganda yung, wala ka masyadong bleed from the mics.
Pero with ilan sila?
10? I think 10 or 12 piece na horns.
For that much players on that small stage, linis niya.
Tsaka I remember na, I think we had just gotten some additional mics. As in, parang kakakuha ko lang ng
Lapel.
Beta 98 ata, ganun. So parang at least nagamit namin for some of the horns.
Galing man. For me, talaga nakita ko yung, nandun ako from the first mixes ng Minsan. Tapos ngayon, parang, wala lang.
Nafe-feel mo ng
Garage,
gumaganda.
Parang garage band mix siya dati with the stuff. Tapos ngayon parang, paganda.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first few mixes, sinasabihan kita, oy, pinanood mo ba? Diba? As in, pinanood mo ba yung video habang...
Meron pa kang parang template Tine-template ko pa siya.
Na parang, okay, ganito yung tunog.
Mag-mix ito. Pero never ko consider it na ano yung Wanna Room. ano yung nasan ba yung mics, mga ganun. Never could
Or even
predict
just
yun.
as simple as panning ng guitars,
Oo.
di ba?
Parang-
Pag as an audience ba ako, nasa kanan ba yung lead or nasa kaliwa?
Ganda na, it's so nice na para pag nakita mo nandiyan yung guitar,
Oo,
so it's
yun.
playing at that side. Wala lang.
Most people won't even be able to hear that, di ba? Or even just to pinpoint that. But you hear it kasi subconsciously.
Subconscious something here, nafe-feel mo. It's a feel eh. Hindi ka naman, ayun nga, like, ang hirap mag-nitpick on audio. It's a feel thing talaga. And ang hirap niya going authentic, I think. Or ang hirap niya ipalabasin.
What do you find naman the opposite? Parang saan ka mas nahihirapan? Or at least ano yung mga things na you would say don't help a mix?
Ooh. Loud monitors.
Loud
Yeah,
monitors.
loud monitors.
I think that's
I think,
why at least kumaga, as an audio engineer, we both understand why, but for those who don't know, why doesn't having everyone on monitors help?
bleed and feedback. Thank you. Please lower your monitors. Kahit konti lang. Yun lang.
Kasi yung the philosophy there is, diba, parang there are some musicians, and I understand this to a point wherein they need to feel that loudness to get into the zone. Diba? And that's okay, but they also have to understand that at that point they're competing with themselves.
Yeah.
They're competing with their bandmates in terms of even just getting the loudness of your own voice or your own guitar into the mic so that para lang lumusot ka ng signal.
Ano siya eh, hindi siya double-edged. Parang siyang, it's not helping anyone, not helping you then. Na, I feel like it is more of a morale boost or confidence boost na when you hear it loud on stage na you sound loud na you can hear everything na it would sound good outside. Parang may ganun akong kind of thinking minsan na sa Sweden dati na malakas ako monitors. Medyo sorry na ako ngayon na na-realize ko na mahirap nga. Tapos pag nagpo-feedback, parang sama ng tingin ko sa
sa ibang tao.
Parang ba't nagpo-feedback? Pero ngayon,
Being
understanding
on
now,
the other side
na it's always be considered lang with the audio engineers. Kasi we are trying to make this show the best for you and of course for the audience then. We want to have a win-win situation with the audience and the performers then. Which is hard to do. Yun yung mahirap of yung juggling with that.
Diba? And even, I guess, it becomes easier if you have a band that actually follows what you say. Na parang, oy, tugtog ka muna. Ops, stop. Pwede bang hinaan ko yung gitara mo? Pwede bang laksan mo yung gitara? Ops, baka dito sa venue na to, play softer, play louder. Kumbaga, let's try to use these
Happy ako
symbols
for Telic about that.
na nakikinig sila.
Sobrang happy ako for the Kasi like sila, I guess because tatagal namin kasama, ilang years kami na friends. Pero I think generally they're really good guys then. And marami naman akong, I'd like to say, medyo
Go lang.
bata, pero I noticed lang with the older generation, like yung mga Gen X, dun sila yung mas mahirap kausapin about monitors on stage, on how it sounds. Parang they don't really grasp or understand the idea lang of kaya ba't nagpa-feedback. Ang hirap explain na kasi malakas yung monitors mo. Yung mga ganun things. And syempre, you have to be respectable din kasi minsan mga senior na sila. And doon ako nalilito minsan, parang on that situation, what do you do? Ako, I don't know. Parang I get lost na do I conform to them na parang, sige po, lakas ako na yung monitors mo despite the feedback. Ganun ba? Or
I guess I would always go back to attitude versus skill na parang kailangan mong sabayan to a point na parang i-explain na, sir, usually ganito, ganyan. Parang we'll do our best, but we also have to i-explain it in a way na that doesn't offend them. Diba? Kasi I find, even if there are people who are, kumbaga, older, more experienced, the better people are usually willing to listen.
Yeah.
Diba? I mean, you've had your fair share of just going up to older audio engineers and seeing kung sino pa yung pinaka magaling. Like the person I say who I think is really the best live sound engineer in the Philippines, si Nino Capulong.
Yeah.
'Di ba?
Yeah.
Siya pa yung isa sa mga pinaka mabait
Mabait.
na
Sobrang
parang
down to earth. Sobrang
oo,
helpful. Wala siyang ego at all.
wala siyang ego about
Oo.
mixing, about just even though he's like you probably if you've attended any foreign concert in the past 5
Nandun siya.
6 years,
Yeah.
most likely siya yung nag-set up ng buong sound system na yun.
Yep.
Pero you won't see who he is, 'di ba? Parang but the people who know na, ay, if I see him at the tech booth, wala na ako. Parang kampante ako eh.
Yeah.
'Di ba? Parang ganun yung dating.
Siya yung gusto ko maging. in the
Si
future.
Nino.
Si Nino.
And that comes with experience eh. Parang it doesn't come overnight. 'Di ba?
Yeah.
I remember when you were sort of, I want to say the first 3-4 months of you being on your own sa Telic.
Scary, man. Super
Kumusta yung
scary.
experience na yun for you? Nang hindi na ako sumasama, na parang, okay ka na siya, kaya mo na yun ah.
God damn. Sumama ka pa dun sa sa Kainta. Ay,
Hindi, yung sa isa parang Robinson something.
Robinsons. Kasi dun, pero scary, man.
Yung
So,
Mayo tour yun eh.
yung first pihit ko sa Telec, sa ano yan, Makati School gig yun eh. Banda, ano yung sa likod ng B-side?
Bosco?
Hindi, sa likod ng B-side. Yung parang tech school siya. Ay Academy.
Okay.
Ay Academy. So try ko remember natin yung tinuro mo parang, so pag nandiyan ka na set, make sure, mag-save ka na ng ano.
Mag-save ka ng
Mag-save ka ng
settings.
setlist, ganun na. So, pangalan niya, I think si Nicholas, siya yung supplier doon. Tapos parang, during 2 bands before Telec, nasa baba na ako, pinaka-self ko, ako si Marc, ako yung mag-FOH for Telec. Tapos, naka-iPad lang siya. I think,
DL32? Maki?
most likely Maki siya. So, wala pang alam nun. So, check ko yan. Tapos ko, sige, gagawa lang ang bagong setlist for Telec. Gawa lang parang monitor mix, gano'n. 3 set ko.
Lahat nag-reset.
So, nag-reset, lahat nag-off. Habang nagpe-performing yung 2 bands before Telec, natira lang yung drums. Tapos parang may, yung speakers. Tapos, parang, oh my God, akong gumawa nito. Tapos parang,
Tapos, kinuha niya, niload na lang niya.
yung pawis ko sa kamay ko, parang nag-wash ako na hands. Super tumutulo siya, man. Like, hindi ko na gagawin ko. So, parang sorry ako dun kay Nick.
Tapos, niload lang niya. Okay na.
Parang lahat binalik niya. Tapos parang, inisip ko sa after that, parang, shit, parang hindi to for me, ah. Parang live mixing, hindi for me ito, ah. Pero scary, man. Like, first gig, nangyari yan. Tapos ako parang, sobrang mind-blown na ako na parang, oh my God.
Lahat ng
mali. Tapos first gig siya, tapos never ko, parang hanggang ngayon, hindi pa rin bayad yun, yung utang na yun. Hindi pa rin ako okay with that.
Well, I guess one of the stories I like to tell a lot rin nga is similar experience nga sa'yo. When I mixed Dharma for one of the first times, may out-of-town gig kami sa Gapan. Tapos, parang hindi ko sila mapatunog ng maayos talaga. It was a Behringer board, Eurodesk. Out of an 8-song set, parang umayos yung tunog, song 5, song 6 na, parang ganun. Alam mo yun,
Sakit na!
pangit ng feeling, di ba?
Sakit.
Sobrang pangit ng feeling
Hindi
na
ka
hindi mo...
makatulog that night?
Oo, hindi talaga. Sobrang hindi talaga.
Hate na hate kayo.
Tapos parang the whole way back, tapos shit, fuck, kailangan ko mag-aaral. Tapos alam mo, nagsasearch na ako ng mga libro on live mixing, para mga ganun.
Ano nangyari? Sa board ba yun?
It was a combination of parang hindi ko nahanap ng tama yung lahat ng monitor routing, hindi ko na EQ ng maayos lahat ng bagay. Tapos parang naka-pre yung iba, naka-post fader yung iba. Essentially parang sobrang gulo lahat. Wala akong proper gain staging. Kumbaga lahat ng workflow things na inayos ko ngayon, 0 pa ako nun. So talagang bara-bara ako, patunogin mo, ganun.
Basta makalabas ng okay.
Parang alam mo yung parang literal na parang may kakabit yung roadie. Ay, lagay mo. Okay, lalagay ko, try ko, ganun. So wala kang parang there was no
5 songs.
No rhyme or reason, no workflow on what to do. And if you're doing that, what I then realized after is without a proper workflow, wala ka talaga. As in, sobrang hirap talagang magpatunog.
Yes.
Diba?
Yes. Lalo na kung nag-scramble ka na hindi mo alam, well, hindi, sige. I guess, proper patching na rin yung pinaka-most important thing. When you know
This
si
mic
kick.
goes here. This
Oo,
kick
yan,
goes
yan.
here.
Yun yung easy. I mean, blessed na tayo kung tama yan, di ba? Pero may mga gigs na parang si snare pala si hi-hats. Yung mga ganun gigs,
Si
diba?
vocal pala ginawang DI.
Or si bass pala naka-route na sa SPD. May mga ganun gigs na parang, shit, ba't nangyari ito? Pero huwag ka mag-freak out. I mean, the best you could do is start from zero na lang. Tapos, just, ako di ako nag-rename eh. Try ko na remember ano yung mga
Yun yung isang
diba?
practice kasi, ano yung 1, ano yung 3, ano yung 5.
Dapat i-remember. Kasi kung i-rename mo pa yan, that's mga 10 seconds of you renaming.
Those 10 seconds might not seem like a lot, but 10 seconds
During people are playing and people are listening, wala man. Forever yan. Ang tagal nun. And memory helps. Memory helps. I feel like when you know what you're listening for helps din. Na parang, if you have an idea na of how, I know naman how Autotelic sounds na.
like boses ni Josh,
Boses
gitara
ni
ni
Josh is
Neil.
here. And if gamay mo na yun, or alam mo na yun, it's easier to do that. Rather than na parang, bara-bara pa. Hindi, sige, taas ako ng guitar, taas ako si kick, ganun-ganun. Pag may clear idea of how the band sounds, mas madali yung workflow.
Sa tingin mo saan nanggaling yung want, or not even want, I would say a need to just mix or just do. Kasi for those who don't know rin, like you also mixed Autotelic's last 2 albums, ba?
Papunta pabalik.
Papunta pabalik. Tapos yung every release after that.
Yung mga singles. Except yung Takip, yung ginawa sa Big Baby. Yung Takip Silim EP.
And then you also did Josh's solo album, yung Tota album.
Tota.
Diba? So you have the advantage of, I guess, being both inside and outside the studio. Parang saan nanggaling yung from being a performer with Sud, tapos biglang behind the desk na lang talaga. Paano nangyari yan for you?
Long before everything else. I grew up kasi with parents who like listening to loud music. Like,
What is loud?
Okay,
As
hindi man
who
loud.
is loud?
So, meron kami parang speakers, yung mga old speakers na parang kasing laki ng Midas.
Okay. Yung mga parang mga bookshelf.
Yung mga bookshelf.
Bookshelf type.
Tas
Basta mga
puro
malalaki.
Steely Dan, Crosby, Stills Nash, yung mga ganong playlist nila. Tapos, when they play, ako nandun ako sa likod ng speakers. Nakagano na ako. So, parang feel ko na yung bass. Parang inside...
Nakakabasag ng tenga yun.
Pero sarap eh. Yung feeling na parang yung pressure gumagano'n sa'yo inside your body. Wala lang, parang from there, parang want lang ako of music or something loud or bass. Something...
Nga tumatagos.
Ramdam
mo, hindi mo dito naririnig.
Yeah,
dito.
yun. Tapos, kailan ba yung first concert ko? First concert ko was, I think, Katy Perry.
Katy Perry,
Man Samoa.
Yun yung first concert na pinanood mo?
Pero, nag-open sa kanila si May.
Oh, shit.
So, yun May.
Okay.
So, doon ako parang oh my God, this is
pwede
like
palang
music
ganito.
Doon ko rin na-feel ulit yung, syempre gigs, diba?
That's what? 05? 06? Hindi. Later.
Katy Perry, man. Shush. Ano ba yun? Taka na.
Pero May. Kung May yun, that would have been...
Pa May.
Early to mid-2010 siguro.
High school ako nun. So, I guess
baka mid-2000s.
Tapos, when I heard May, parang, oh my God. Kala ko yung what can be replicated dun sa speaker na yun, parang kaya lang on headphones or something like that. Pero, like, ang ganda ng mix ng sa May na yan, man. Tapos, I think dun ako I wanna be here in this scene. Parang I want to be in music. Yan. From there.
Around that time ba, medyo nagpipick up na rin yung Sud, di ba? Hindi pa? Wala pa Sud.
High school pa nun. So, wala. With my brothers. Tapos kami, tutog lang. Jam lang. Usually dun lang. Pero, this should happen. Tapos, ganun. Pero, I don't know. From after May, parang something in me told me na parang kailangan mag-revolve ang life ko sa music. In it or outside of it.
Or around it, kumbaga. Even just within that.
Something there, Tapos yun naman, nag-aral na ako ano ba gamit ko dati? Yung free lang,
Fruity Loops?
Hindi, yung logo niya parang may headphones na orange.
Audacity?
Audacity, man. Tangang pangat ng Audacity niyan. Shush.
Audacity, tapos
Audacity or Audacity?
Audacity ang alam ko.
Audacity.
I could be wrong.
Yun. Gamit ko lang dati, wala pang mic. So, ginagawa ko, ginagamit ko phone ko. Tapos mag-record ako doon ng drums. Tapos i-upload ko sa Audacity. Tapos doon ko i-level. Wala pang anything. Wala pang mics, wala pang anything. Meron lang laptop, tsaka phone, tsaka guitar, tsaka bass. Tsaka drums sa lola ko. So, yun. Doon nag-start. From there, I don't know.
Nag-music prod ka din, tama ba?
Music prod sa UST. During those years, I would not recommend yung UST niyan kasi ang pangat ng pangat man. Like, yung first 2 lessons namin sa Music Tech, 01, 02, paano mag-save ng bagong session file sa Pro Tools. Tapos paano gumawa ng mga bagong tracks sa Pro Tools.
Command Shift N lang, di ba?
Oo, pero parang wala silang alam. Wala pa si, si Harold. Parang si Sir Tonton Africa pa nun. Tapos yun, man, super basic. Kasi ako parang naisip ko, sayang money ko dito. Sayang parents' money ko for this. So yun, nag-Berkeley online ako. Which I think was way better. Ang dami ko natunan doon, man. Like, super dami.
At what point mo na-realize, or at least mas ginusto na, parang okay, ako na nga, I'll take over my education as opposed to parang just doing or just learning from someone else.
Nung nalaman ko magkano yung tuition pala na. Tapos I go, oh shit, pwede ko pala gamitin to for something better. Ang Berkeley na lang. Which was, for me, super sulit. Ang ganda ng program nila. Like, during those years, parang every month, they would give us raw files.
Multitracks, diba?
Multitracks. Tapos, imamix namin our own. So, ganda ng mga tracks yan, man. Like, doon ako narinig ako for first time, like, real good, clean recording ng drums, good, clean recording ng vocals. Tapos, doon ako napag-explore on mixing.
I think, for those who might be interested to just find some of those, pinarinig ko na sa'yo yung Lawrence na band, di ba? Hindi pa ba?
Hindi.
Okay, so there's a band I really like. They're called Lawrence. They have their stems online. Na isa-isa.
Pwede may
As in, pwede may mix. As in yung mga popular. Send ko sa'yo.
Sige.
Hanapin ko. Para lang.
Pinoy?
US. So
US.
I know they were the front act recently for the Jonas Brothers. So they play a little more gospel band. Ganun.
Bago lang.
Medyo they've had 4 or 5 albums.
Shit, so tagal na sila. Okay.
So yun.
Lawrence.
Pero yun nga, going back to that na just having access to those multi-tracks and figuring out na, oy, pwede ko pala tong gawin on my own.
Yeah. And it gave me a good, I guess, how should recordings sound like?
Parang okay, ito yung malinis.
Ito yung malinis sa recording. Ito yung proper, I guess, mic placement, proper gain staging.
And even then, a lot of those recordings, if they were coming from the States, they would have already gone through compressors, EQs, diba? Even before reaching Pro Tools, diba?
Kasi I'm sure dumadaan yun through mga Manleys or I don't know eh. But it sounded clean. It sounded processed na for me. Kaya ang ganda. Parang all you had to do was just do a proper
leveling lang, tapos happy ka na.
Pero ikaw, I mean, yun yung fun thing na parang kaya mo, you think you can improve on it? Yeah, go. Improve mo pa. Yun naman yung fun thing about it eh.
And I guess another thing that adds to that experience would be when you're mixing, at least I know when you do stuff with Telic and even more particularly with Josh, you're not just wearing an engineer's hat eh. Diba? Parang you're also thinking semi as a producer na parang, wait, paano kung ganito yung riff? Baguhin natin ganun.
Yeah.
How do you develop, at least, how do you think you develop that skill set? Kasi for what I see most people lack, especially if they want to be a sound engineer, parang they forget that a lot of it is, for me, mixing starts not at the recording phase, but it starts in arrangements pa lang eh.
Yeah.
Diba? So, a lot of the one thing I say that even some of our sound engineers in Wapak, one of the things we say is try to learn an instrument because it will make you understand movements in music.
Yeah. Totoo.
And even just learning, you played bass for Sud, but you also play your guitar, diba?
Mm.
So that helps. How do you think just having that in your arsenal helps both as a sound engineer and as a producer?
Dynamics for me. Like for me, the movement of, syempre, when you play an instrument, movement yan of like going from this note to this note. May movement yan Similarly, I think, ano yan? How do you connect it pag sa FOH?
Kumbaga, no, just how does that help you as both a producer and a
As a
sound
producer,
engineer,
engineer.
diba? Na having that, I guess, background as a musician,
Mm-mm.
diba?
I think more of a technical thing, yung frequency, if you want to be technical.
Mm.
You know what frequency sounds bad. Yung mga matining, ganun. I think instruments help. But more importantly, when you know an instrument or when you're playing bass or guitar, you can be in the shoes of the performer then. Like Josh. Like I know na how he plays. Like, medyo rock chord siya. So parang I can picture it then in the FOH na parang this is how I want this guitar to sound na parang medyo may bite siya.
punch.
May punch, may bite siya. But not matining, hindi yung sobrang kasi like he likes to dig in his guitar Well, if he does that na hindi ko naka-shelf like that, it's gonna sound
Harsh.
And then I know he plays hard and sometimes he plays soft. So parang I need to find a good compression then. So ganun. And knowing na if I'm Josh, I would know na how to set that compression level na sa FOH. Mga ganun things, I think. And also like musically, parang you would feel it more. Like you know how it would sound since ako alam ko if I would play it how I know how it would sound. Yeah.
Do you think naman na parang do you think people would appreciate it more if they played more? If even they just played?
Yeah. Syempre. Of course.
Kasi I think a lot of people or kumbaga, I think there is this misconception about being a musician. Okay, tugtog ka lang. Kumbaga, you're just playing chords. Tapos parang you're just playing a note, you're playing a set. But there's a lot of intangibles, I would say, that goes into a performance.
Yeah.
And ako, both of us, as our roles, I think, as sound engineers or FOH or monitor mixer, as sound engineers, is to be able to give the audience the best representation of that performance. Diba?
Yeah.
And if you're not able, well, as a monitor mix engineer, your primary job is to make sure that they're comfortable to play.
Yeah. Comfortable. And hopefully na kasi when they're comfy, they play better Yun na naman yun
Kita mo yun sa alam mo yung like
yun parate na parate kinaabangan niya pag si Josh gumanyan,
mahina
alam ko
monitor
mahina
niya.
yung monitor niya. Or pag minsan na masyadong malakas gumagano. Alam mo yung face
alam mo yung face.
Alam mo yung face
Bababa mo na.
Bababa mo na parang you don't have to ask. You just have to look. Minsan you can tell na with how their face reacts to some monitors or something.
You also even see it in just the difference in energy that they give.
Yeah.
But you will see at least you will see na this person natuwa siya, 'di ba?
Yeah.
And tapos usually sasabihin yun pagkababa na, "Men, saya nun."
Saya nun.
'Di ba?
Yeah.
And I guess I also see that at least when I see that in the audience You will also see it in the audience sa pag alam mong nag-enjoy na lang talaga sila. As opposed to, iba yung nakikinig ka ng...
Yeah. Pero pag when they get into that zone, yun yung zone na I always try to put myself in. Na parang, if I'm an audience member, tapos mixing the set, na parang hindi pa ako in it. parang alam ko hindi pa yung tamang mix. But when I get lost, like literally lost, na parang minsan nagpo-float na lang yung hands ko or like I don't know what I'm doing na nag-spam lang ako ng control S lang ako. Like yung alam ko na parang okay. So I think
I mean,
this is a good-
there were times when we were doing the John Noy show, which you were the FOH guy for. Parang you would catch yourself and even oy, nakikinig ka na lang.
Diba? Oo, parang minsan wala na ako eh. Tapos parang, uy, trumpet. Oh, shit.
Para trumpet.
Pero saya eh. Like, alam mo yun, I always tell this to Josh na parang, yun yung, or sila Clara, or sila Gaba, the curse of being
A
as a musician
on stage.
On stage. And you'll never be able to hear ano yung mix mo sa labas. Kasi may wall ka eh. Your wall is your monitor.
Your wall is the stage,
Your
the
wall is the
physical
stage.
location.
But you'll never be able to hear, I guess your remnants, yung bounce from the main speaker. Pero us, they'll never be able to hear from where we are. And ang sakit nun, kasi parang may times sa parang, ganda ng mix, Josh. Tapos na parang, talaga? Parang alam mo yun? Na parang, talaga, hindi namin alam. Kasi parang, well, syempre, they won't be able to hear. Pero parang, lang. It's always sad lang na the performer doesn't get to enjoy the set.
But I guess that also comes in to the trust that I think most people will not see. That when you have an FOH, or even if you don't have an FOH, the trust you have to put into that person to be able to translate your performance
Medyo big.
is so big.
Medyo big siya.
It's so freaking big. Kasi you'll never be able to hear what he did. Diba? So magtitiwala ka.
I can just lie, diba?
Parang pwede mo sabihin, oh, sobrang ganda ng tunog, diba?
Ganda. Pwede ko, like, nakaboss na yung kick snare tsaka voice ni Josh eh. Tapos sabi ko, uy, ganda ng set mo, Josh. Ano
Diba?
pero, I can lie. Pero, what's the point? Hindi siya beautiful. Alam mo yun? It's the whole point of a concert. To make it beautiful.
So it also goes both ways rin eh. Na parang you have to trust them to give you the best performance possible.
Yeah.
They have to trust you to be able to translate that performance well.
Yeah.
Diba? For you, I'm curious, because how is mixing live different from mixing at home in the studio? Ano yung experience? Kunwari, very practical. Kaka-release lang natin nung Ikaw at Ako nung may orchestra. At the concert, you were cutting 5-10 dB up to like 300 hertz. Diba?
Kalaban ba time parate for pag FOH? You won't have time na talaga to nitpick all these frequencies na and then si 2000 hertz tapos magka-cue ka ng sobrang nipis. Tapos yun yung drop mo. I mean, yeah, sige man, if you want to do that. Pero we're
By the
racing
time
against
you're
time,
doing
eh.
that, nag-second movement
Second song na, oo. Tapos, I cut a lot because, I don't know, baka lang, in my head, I can see yung tining ng frequency ng
Nakikita mo
violins.
na.
Nakikita mo yung frequency eh. So parang in my head lang, I just say na, okay,
masyado matining.
might as well just cut this part na muna. And then, while I see na hindi nagpa-feedback and it's not being fucked up, I can move it back lang to a position na I'm happier. So parang, I guess, move it back lang for me and then find na lang the sweet spot when everything's okay, when you can make it better. But always, ayan, like I said, practical mo time. It's always time. Like, wala kang time to say, oh, wait lang. Kala ko yung mix to.
I mean, you can do that in sound check.
Sound
but even
checks,
then,
yes.
But even then, parang the band needs to warm up. The band may need to rehearse a song.
And then, like, if you're gonna sound check all that, sige man, you do the sound check. Tapos when they play all together, isang pangit ang labas bigla, diba? Parang, you wasted not just your time, but everyone's time then. I feel like, when everyone plays together, and then you start doing your leveling, parang dun yung best time to mix. Because when they're all playing at their level, na they're comfy at, and then you start doing your mixing, parang win-win for all eh. Na I'm not just mixing, sige, si strings 1, si strings 2, strings 3. Parang, I don't know, there's a natural, nice mix lang when you don't touch too much, stuff like that. Hindi ka nag-EQ or compress too much. And when the band's playing at a comfy level, then you do your movement. For me, it's more natural and more complementary, I guess.
And I guess the logic there also stems from music isn't solitary. You're reacting to how everyone else is playing.
Yeah.
Diba? So you will naturally find how loud you should be playing in relation to everyone else.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen if you're doing sound checks na parang, sige, kick mo na, o sige, snare mo na.
Always, ganyan. Tapos parang, ito pa, sound check na. Kaya kick, kick. Bsh, bsh, bsh. Mahina yung palo. Pero pagpasok ng band, lalakas nila yan, man. Lalakas nila all the time. So, doing one by one sound checks, sige, if you wanna do line check, go lang.
Okay yan.
Okay yan. Pero if you're gonna mix mo yung kick mo na sobrang ganda, tapos ang lakas ng punchy, tapos ang rock kick niya, tapos pagpasok ng lahat, ang pangit bigla ng kick mo.
Kasi wala lang, yun lang yung naririnig
Kasi pinocus mo yung kick mo. What about the other instruments, diba? I don't know. For me, better na the band's playing at a level they're happy with, and then you can move your stuff na.
I think maaga pa lang sinabi ko na sa iyo yun eh, di ba? Ito yung tunog ng lahat ng kick sa Pilipinas eh.
Song ano sa kick. Every time nakita ko sa mga EQ, parang yung chef nila.
Yung sobrang taas ng highs.
Naka-high five na siya. Kagay na siya.
Tapos parang yung parang...
I think ano siya eh.
They want to hear it kasi. There are some, I think...
The click na. Yung clickiness of it lang.
And I think there are some things na would be better felt than heard. Diba?
Yeah.
So, yun yung minsan nakakalimutan na parang, hindi naman lahat kailangan bida eh.
Yeah.
Diba?
Siya di man lahat, puro kick tsaka snare na gusto marinig ng tao.
What's one thing na you learned, I guess, from your experience as a sound engineer, musician, in even working with Minsan? What's one piece of advice that you think applies to your industry or our industry that would be helpful if everyone applied it, whether they're not in music?
Personal experience naman. Ikaw rin nagsabi sa akin to. Like, first advice ko sa akin was to be nice to your fellow suppliers. Actually, yung mga sitting in-house engineer done. Tapos may, something happened na I've worked with people na hindi ako comfy with. Tapos parati nilang sinasabi, ito mali mo, ito mali mo, ito mali mo. Tapos parang subconsciously in my mind, I tell myself na instead of pointing out mali mo, ito yung mali mo, ito yung mali mo, I think of ilan na tulungan mo this day.
Paano mo,
Parang sino tulungan mo? Like, it's as simple as giving water to yung supplier mo.
Something I told you before, diba?
Diba? Yun, ginagawa ko yun. Parati may dalang water to give lang to the engineer. Kasi respect the suppliers and the people who work on stage and the people who set it up.
They've been there 6, 10, 12 hours
they're the
before
first
you.
ones who are there.
They're the last ones
who go there. Respect those people. Kasi sila yung... It physically would not be possible talaga pag wala sila. Mga yan. And yun man, like, ang lit ng industry natin, tapos nag-aaway-aaway pa ibang mga tao dyan. Palaki ng ulo or pataas ng ihi. Diba? Parang, it's not an industry to compete with. Dapat to, it's music.
Tulungan.
It's art. Diba? Art to eh. Hindi naman tayo bangko eh. Hindi naman tayo, ano ba yun? It's, dapat art, beauty. It's not a competition dapat. It's something that everyone should enjoy. And it should be accessible to everyone.
I guess just to echo that one of the principles that we have here is really saluhan. Parang think of the next person who's receiving your work at the same time. If you have the mindset that everyone in the project is just thinking that and they're hoping that it succeeds.
Yeah.
Wala kang dahilan na magalit, mainis sa mga tao eh.
It's hard, diba?
It's hard in the heat of the moment.
And pagod ka na. I understand, pagod ka na. Ang umulan, ang init. And just be nice lang. Kasi, especially now na, like, yung respect ko for everyone who works in this industry, mas tenfold.
Yung tao nag-set up ng truss ng 12 midnight, tapos nakikita mong natutulog.
Especially, kahit yung mga roadies mo. Sila Mon, sila Jeng. Sila yung literal backbone. Sila yung nagka-carry. Sila yung grunt work, the hard shit. And that, for me, taken for granted a lot.
Alright. We have a couple of closing traditions here in the Minsan podcast. One of them is where the last guest leaves a question for the next guest without knowing who it is. Simple lang. Actually, yung...
Sinabi mo na sa akin.
Hindi. Sinabi na ba sa'yo? Hindi pa ata. Ito lang. Sabi ni Sis. Sabi ni Papa Sis of Brass Pas 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 Pas.
Okay.
Kailan ka huling nawasak?
Taga naman.
Ano nangyari?
Wala, may gout na ako eh. So, di ako umiinom masyado man. Wala.
Naalala mo pa ba yung last time na medyo nawasak ka pa?
Alam ko yung best wasak ko.
Ano yun?
Yung sa
Sige.
Route 196.
Route 196 or
Route 196, yun yung Sindicato Night, Autotelic, tapos
Member ka pa ng Sud?
Member pa ng Sud ng 2012, 2013. Tapos sa Telic, next Sud, sa Tanda Kami stage, first song, okay, second song nag-brown out. Hindi siya bumalik after 5 minutes. Sabi nila Jugs, sila Jazz na, sige, wag na tumugtog, inom na lang tayo. So nag-open bar sila. Nalam si Apags.
Si Apags. Paolo Apagala.
So lala ko parang, Marc, tiga, try mo to, flaming shot. So parang kumuha siya ng Bacardi, tapos sinot niya ako, ganyan. Tapos may lighter siya. Ang tagal! Tapos di mo makahinga. So linlight niya, parang after mga 15 seconds, di na makahinga. So dinara ako sa kanya. Tapos parang siya may fire. Tapos gano'n siya.
Sobrang wasak.
Tapos, fuck man. Tapos lasing na kami lahat man. Nalala ko yung bass ko. Tinapo ko siya dun sa freeway. Tapos katipo na extension, tinapo ko siya man. Tapos tumakbo ako na yung pants ko nakababa. Tapos gano'n na.
Wasak ka talaga nun.
Yun yung worst night eh.
Akala ko best.
But sige, yun yung best night. Grabe. Hindi ko lang paano nakauwi nun.
Alright, sige. Buti naman nag-enjoy ka nung kailan ka wasak.
Yun yung 2013, yung years na.
Sige. I guess in keeping with that tradition, maybe you can add, you can write one question for the next guest without knowing who it is. Ikaw bahala kahit ano. Pwede namang seryoso, pwedeng hindi. Ikaw bahala.
Ano ko si Aaron eh?
Hindi.
Saan
Okay
kasi?
naman. Hindi, basta kahit ano is, palay mo, bigla siya mag-cancel, tapos di pala siya. Kahit
Sige.
anong question. Maybe a good question there is, a question you would like the answer to.
Nice. Sige. Yan.
Ano sagot mo dito?
Diyan? Shit, di ko alam.
Is it external validation? Internal?
Pwede sabihin selfishly na parang for me, na I want to be renowned as the best blank, whatever. Pero more than that, syempre, financial stuff for Tala, for future. Pero, hindi, for me,
Gusto mong
gusto ko maging the best of this.
the guy.
Yeah.
The mixing guy.
The mixer guy. That guy who did this, that guy who did this concert and made
Gawa
the
lang ng
most.
Yeah. Sa akin naman it's, I guess, what pushes me is knowing that I have the capability and the support of the people around me. Kasi I know that I can't do this alone. Whatever we do here at Minsan Live Cash or whatever, I can't do it alone. But knowing that people will have your back in whatever you do makes you wanna do more.
Sobrang na ako proud minsan, man. Sobrang na ako proud. Yan, si Dylan. Galing ni Dylan.
So yun. And yun, that's why I think this will come out around the same time as Minsan Fest.
Sige.
So, ayun no.
Show natin sa screen. Yun yung imbes na playback, yung podcast na to. Yun yung ko play.
Tingnan natin. Sige. And the last question we ask is, we here at Minsan, as you know, love music. We make a playlist based on the answers of our guests. What's one song you would like to add to that playlist? The only question we ask is why that song.
Any,
Any song. Basta mahanap ko siguro
Ngayon na?
Spotify. Well, ano yung song na naisip mo?
Sabi pa ko recently.
Unless gusto mo maging vain, tapos yung
Corn-
song na minix mo rin.
Hindi. Honestly, super hooked ako kay Ena Mori, man.
Ena Mori.
Ena Mori.
Sobrang...
Funny.
I think
Yung funny na track niya, para siyang may pagka...
galing ba yun sa Wild Ones?
No. Bagong-bago
Mas
niya
bago
to.
ba?
Yeah. Funny. Ena Mori, funny. Para siyang Beastie Boys meets Bjork meets... hindi ko sabihin Imogen Heap. Pero may pagka Bjork and Beastie Boys. Ano mo yan?
And I think she's one of the more people should... one of the artists that more people should be listening to.
Super galing naman. Grabe.
I had the privilege of mixing her for the Aurora show.
Mhm.
Galing rin. Iba rin siya. I mean, she's one of the few artists I found who could immediately hold her own on the stage.
Yeah.
May dating agad siya sa stage.
Yeah. Something na parang, small girl, pero parang yung character niya eh.
And then when you meet her, parang, she's very nice, very timid.
Oo.
Diba? Hindi,
Galing.
sobrang complete opposite, I guess, from what her
Stage,
persona on stage, which feels like an enormous personality. Diba?
Siya yung one of the artists here na parang, I hope, syempre, I wanna push on my OPM artist, pero si Ena Mori parang ibang beast siya. I see her in the long run like something big. Baka Billie Eilish bigger. Leave.
Listen to Funny by Ena Mori. Alright. Thanks, Mark. Salamat.
Game, Magic?
Tangina mo.
Game.
Gago.
Game.
Isang oras pa tayo dito. Bahala ka dyan, gago.
Game?
Sobrang hindi. Sobrang hindi.
Ba't may no-open?
Hindi, mag-aalala ko lang. Ito yung ano, diba? Ito yung commander.